This not just girl talk.
It's talk for the people.
You got two women,
Two voices,
one sound.
and that's the truth.
You here with the married Don,
And the selective Don.
and we here to call a spade a motherfucking spade. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get to it.
We back, baby.
And we live again, mother. It's like, nah.
All right. So, how's everybody doing this evening?
Good. Nice.
Nice.
Yes.
All right, now we're going to have to put a little bit of pep in that step. You know, I see you got that cup in front of you, so.
Did y'all take y'all initial sip yet?
I
took
did.
a lot of sips.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, since we sipping, go ahead and introduce yourselves, ladies.
I am Katrina Carter. On Instagram, I am at virtuous_Carter.
I am Miko Kelly, and I am Miko the Boss on all social media.
Okay. So we decided to have these ladies on here because October is domestic violence. Is it awareness month or just
Yes.
domestic violence awareness month. I need to slow down on my sips. But and you two are survivors.
Yes.
And we are proud of that. You know, you came out and now you're out here trying to help other people. So we wanted to discuss that. It's a very, as we said earlier, taboo topic, especially
Right.
in our community. We like to keep things hush,
Oh,
but
yeah.
the only way to get a solution is to talk about it, address the problem, and face it head on. So that's what we're going to do
Okay.
tonight.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
Well, we're going to do a little weekly recap,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm going to start this week. My week was, has been rather productive. I've traveled. I've done some trainings. I've attended some trainings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How's your writing coming?
Better than I thought.
Okay.
I thought that I would need to do more edits, but I've just gotten back a final draft. And it's not that many edits that I need to do, so it may be coming to you guys sooner rather than later.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Okay.
And it is hot. My baby hairs are sweating.
That ain't just me then. 'Cause I was
No,
over
I
here
was
like,
hot too, but I thought I was frustrated from the traffic.
I
It's
thought I
all
took
these
too
ladies
many
Oh, my
hang out.
goodness.
It's that loose juice y'all drinking.
You might be right. You might be right.
It's the juice.
Child. Okay. Well, Ms. Ball,
Me?
you.
I thought we was going like this. Okay. My week has been. I'm sorry. I got some bad news, but my week has been good. I'm always blessed to see another day and get another opportunity. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it like that. Katrina,
my week has been frustrating.
already?
I'll drink to
yeah.
that.
I just went back to work yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So just get back into the swing of things. So hopefully I make it till Friday.
Okay. Well, you know, there's life after work.
Yes. Yes.
Thank
And by
God.
after work,
These
we
cups
mean
right here.
Drinks
Yes.
after work. That's a good thing.
Miko.
My week has been pretty good. I have been doing a lot of talking about domestic violence awareness. I went a couple radio stations just talking and just trying to make a lot of connections with people. And I don't know, like you said, the topic is taboo. People don't like to
Yes.
talk about it. I'm an advocate for victims and especially survivors. So I'm constantly trying to tell people, you know, even though you go through that, you can bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
If I can bounce back, anybody can bounce back.
Mhm.
So my week has been pretty good.
Now,
Thank
let
you.
me ask y'all this. I know it's October and it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Is this like the only time that people reach out to y'all to talk about this, or are people becoming more aware of the problem?
I think people are becoming more aware of the problem.
Okay.
Before, not just in October, but throughout the year, if you continue to share your story, people reach out to you throughout the year because they want to know that I'm not the only one out here who's
Right.
going through it. Because you're embarrassed. You know, you don't want to tell people what's going on. I was judged a lot. When I did decide to try to reach out for help and ask people for help and things like that, and it wasn't a good response. So I just started to
Wow.
stay in my little hole, deal with what was going on my own terms until I decided to get out. So
Wow.
Okay.
Well, Miko, you said you had a lot of interviews
Yeah.
this last week or even this month. Is this like a continuing thing for you, or do people, is it, well, I mean, it's obvious it's going to be a hot topic
Right.
during October,
Right.
but are people talking about it more? Are people
Yes.
becoming more aware? Okay.
They are. They coming more aware, and then with the book, by putting this book out, it really has a lot of people attention as far as like what I went through, and I'm talking about some people in it that some people know, and not mention no names, but you know, when you talk about people that people know, they get interested. They're like, wait a minute. Wait, who did that? What? So it's like a lot of interaction with trying to figure out, one, who I'm talking about in the book, and then two, it just brings them just trying to figure out, like, how did I get out of it? What were, you know, the triggers? What made me realize I was in a relationship like that? So the book has helped a lot, but people are becoming aware.
Do you want to give some background on when you wrote the book? And you asked a question before we started about the book. Did you want to?
I don't remember.
I don't either. Do you, Miko?
No, too much loose juice.
That's, you know what, you might be
really
right.
bad.
That in old age.
Because it
That's
was
what
a good question.
it was.
Do you remember, Katrina? We are doing bad, and this is only Bedford. Jesus.
Yes.
Okay, well, give us, what made you write the book?
So my husband was trying to get me to write this book a while back, and it really didn't start off talking about domestic violence at all. It really started talking about my back in the day. I used to be a singer, and I had a video on BET. So it's more talking about the music industry and what I went through in the music industry, because my husband and I, we are music consultants to aspiring artists. And we used to sit down in these meetings, and I used to tell my story, and they'd be like, I have music that is on iTunes that I didn't do the proper paperwork for, that I don't get paid for.
Wow.
So that started the book. And then when I started writing the book, I realized that there's some other things that I need to talk about. There's, you know, and so I incorporated the domestic violence piece in it. And then I was talking about child molestation and then just being in toxic relationships. So it started off with just talking about the music, because I do touch on the music in it, but then it became a thing of talking about domestic violence awareness. And so I started writing this book, I think in 2014. And it took me about 2 years to get it out of my head and onto the pages. And then had a person who edited the book. And the first editing part took 6 months. This book was twice this size. It really should have been 2 parts to it. But we condensed it down, and we did the editing. And I wasn't satisfied. Every time I read it, I'm like, I don't like this. I want to change this. So it took a while. So I finally was able to get it out last year for Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October of 2018.
Okay. Katrina, what made you want to come out? I mean, because you talked about the embarrassment that comes with it.
yeah,
The shame,
it's the embarrassment. It's the shame.
judgment.
Some reason for this year alone, like I've been trying to push myself to do other things, right? So going home, you know, cooking, for doing things around the house and stuff like that, and something just clicked and was like, you need to start speaking up and sharing your story and tell people what happened. You know, there are a lot of people that are like family of his and things like that that follow me on social media, and some of them know actually what we went through.
Wow.
But they didn't believe some of the stories. Like they didn't believe that he was that person, you know. So a lot of the blame was pushed on me. Like, why didn't you leave? What happened? What was going on? You know. So my husband was actually like, you know, if it's in your head, you need to get it out,
Right.
Because when you get in a new relationship, it's a whole nother beast. Because in your head, it's like, okay, is he gonna do the same thing
Right.
that he did? Any little argument that we would have, you know, I would be like, you know what, I can't do this. And in my mind, it was he was doing the same thing that my ex did to me.
Right.
And in reality, he wasn't. You know, it could be something simple as us having a small argument, you know. Well, I didn't like the way that tasted, you know, and then I'll blow up, you know, like, well, throw everything away, not knowing that it came from my past.
Right.
So I said, okay, let me get this out, because as long as it's in my head and I don't get it out, I'm gonna have some issues. I have still to this day, big crowds do something for me. I can't go to like the grocery stores when I think it's crowded. I can't go or take my kids to like events and things like that, because in my head he's watching me. He gonna pop up somewhere.
Wow.
That's scary.
But that's in my head. You know what I'm saying?
PTSD.
So, right.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh,
That's a
yeah,
little
yeah.
PTSD.
I was diagnosed with PTSD. And working through it, but those are the small things. So when I had to go to the laundromat, I went 1 o'clock.
Wow.
At night. When I go to the grocery store, I go early in the morning. I don't go on Sundays because it's a crowd of people. So those are the things that I have to work through. But also by me speaking about it and actually starting to post things and sharing my stories, I'm feeling better because I'm getting it out, but it's still other stuff internally besides the physical abuse that was going on. Mentally, it messes you up because you always feel like you're walking on eggshells.
Right.
So you can do nothing right. You know, everything is wrong in your eyes because that's how it was programmed to you. Everything was wrong. You know, you can't vacuum the floor right. You can't wash the dishes right. You can't.
This is in your new relationship, or
no, my old,
your old one, or is
ex.
this what you took to your new relationship?
I took this into my marriage.
Okay.
You know, so it took me to finally go to counseling. That's something else I think that triggered me, because I actually started back going to counseling earlier this year. And she told me, she said, you really have to look at what you've been through, because you have trauma.
Right.
You know, and I was like, ain't no trauma.
Well, that kind of takes me to the first question, although I feel like we've touched on a little bit of everything. And when is the first time that any of you all can remember experiencing some sort of abuse, whether it was physical, mental, emotional, sexual? When?
So for me, I think I was almost 10 years old, and my grandfather molested me. And he knew that my grandmother was outside. We're in the country. This is North Carolina. She's hanging clothes on the line. So I can see her out the window, and I'm sitting there at the piano just plunkering around, and then I feel these hands on, I don't even have breasts. I'm 9.5, 10 years old. Like, why are you touching my flat chest?
Right.
And so it was just, I mean, like, automatically, I just froze and was like, you know, what is going on? I didn't understand. And so immediately I just jumped up and ran out the house like, something's not right. So I know that was the first time that I experienced sexual abuse. And it never stopped. It was like I would be waiting for it to happen. It got to a point where it's like, oh, well, it's going to happen, so I might as well just lay here and pretend like whatever. And it
So
was
you
just
conditioned
awful.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Katrina, Carmen?
I just remember at a young age being a witness to a lot of arguments between certain adults and how they talk to people, and then what their reaction would be if myself or other children intervened. So I learned early about the whole keep the house business in the house.
Yep.
You know, you mind your fucking business.
Yep.
Oh, I'm gonna mind my fucking business.
Yep.
You learn
Didn't
early
take it out the door.
the code of silence.
Right.
And then from there, it became normal.
For me, I witnessed my aunt go through for a while. She, to me, is like the epiphany of somebody who gets up and keeps trucking. You know, I was actually in the room when the person came in, and he stabbed her.
Oh my God.
So it was he stabbed her here because she went up, and I can still see it to this day. She went up like this, and the knife went through her arm. And she did that to save us, because she didn't know like what his intentions were, and I guess that scared him because he ran off. Well, of course, I'm in the country, Mississippi, so around us is nothing but trees. So we don't know where he disappeared to, but that was my first time seeing something like that, So in my eyes, it was like, oh, okay, well, they were together for a long time. It just was a fight.
It was
Right.
that he
Right.
become their norm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Wow. I would have to say the first time I experienced any type of abuse, and it's so funny y'all talk about like embarrassment and shame, and I don't think this question was on the outline because I would have prepared myself a little bit better for this. But
Feel free to pass if need be.
yeah, let me go ahead and pass.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's funny because I want to pass because of the embarrassment, the shame, and the judgment that may come. Well, I'm almost sure will come
Exactly.
from, and the crazy thing is it'll come from family before it comes from anybody else.
Okay.
And I'm just not sure if I'm prepared for that.
That's fair. That's fair. Everybody isn't ready to talk about or have these type of hard conversations. So, what does abuse look like? When we think about the word abuse, right? Is it solely physical? Is it solely emotional? What does abuse look like?
I mean, physical abuse to me is, it's not taking anything away from it. But for me, I always felt worse when it was the verbal abuse and being, called stupid and fat and a bitch and
That was the number
slut
one.
and like, because of my past, one thing I do talk about in my book is at one point I was a stripper and a sex worker. So I've had men who, judge me from that or whatever, and just going through that whole situation of having people, call me out of my name. I feel like that was worse than the actual, physical abuse is hard. But to just constantly have someone telling you I knew in my deep down in my heart, I knew even though I did those things, I knew that I was still a child of God, even though I've done all these things. But just to have someone constantly, tell you that you're stupid or you're fat or you ugly, it was just like, it's really hurtful. So for me, the verbal abuse was really, really tough. I don't know, it just still does something to me.
How did you know it was abuse?
Not until later on.
Okay.
Like, I think I was having a conversation with my sister and I was telling her something that happened and she was like, he said, what? With my Vaseline, like she ready to go fight because she's like, no, that's not right. And I'm like, well, I did used to do a lot of stuff back in the day. She's like, no,
Right.
no, that's still not you. So you had it was tough because I just didn't know. Even with the physical abuse, like I honestly, with my son's father, I was 21 when it happened. I'd seen it so much that I thought that meant love. I was like, well, hey, obviously he loved me enough because he's jealous of other people. Or he's controlling what I'm doing.
Right.
So obviously that's love, right?
Isn't it something how we look to excuse those behaviors?
Yes.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
it's crazy that we think that that's love because
Right.
I remember that same feeling,
Yes.
thinking that was okay. That
Right.
meant that he liked me.
Right.
Yep.
The hell was like what? When I think back, I'm like, this is crazy.
Yes.
Crazy.
The stuff that you accept is
Yes.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
why?
Yes. Bananas. I'm serious, especially when I think about who it came from. I'd be like, nigga, what?
Right.
Oh,
You ain't shit.
That's
You
a
got
whole
the
right.
nerve to say some shit about me. But Katrina, what does abuse look like for you?
For me, it was trying to get myself back together from the physical abuse. My physical abuse was black eyes. I've been spit on.
Oh God, Katrina.
I've been kicked. And me having to put on a face to go into work. So for me, it was trying to make for sure that I always look to the public as okay. When I in the inside, I was like going through it.
Right.
So for me, still it's mental. Trying to say, oh, you good enough. You know, no matter what he said or what he did, you're good enough. But my physical, get my hair done, next day it'll be ripped out. Call myself going to get me some new clothes, get my nails done. No, ma'am. So I started to not get my hair done, not worry about my appearance.
You don't want to look too good for somebody else.
Yeah, you can't, and you can't go out there and somebody even the inkling of them looking at you was
he's
a fight when you
insecure.
get home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you that. Let me ask you this. Excuse me. And I'm gonna come back to you. How did you camouflage those scars and the physical
Ooh,
stuff?
child, me and concealer, honey. Dark as I am, I had found me some concealer from the CVS or the Rite Aid, and I kept it in my purse.
Wow.
One time I couldn't hide it, though. I was working at an oncology practice, and we got into a fight. Don't know what the fight even was for, but my eye was swollen. It was black, and it was swollen. So on my way to work, I was like, I gotta think of an excuse for this because the concealer ain't working this time. Like, why the hell the concealer ain't working this time? So I called myself putting concealer, but my eye was so black it was closed shut.
Oh my God.
So to go into work, and I was like, okay, you work with doctors. So I told them that, I was cleaning the house and I mixed some ammonia and some other stuff together and it burned my eye and I was rubbing it too bad and, blah, blah, blah. That's what I told them. Wow. But one of the doctors I was working for, he said, Katrina, come here, let me talk to you. He said, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. He said, you know that we know that didn't come from cleaning products, right? I said, it did. It did come from cleaning products, so...
You convinced yourself.
Yeah. Because in my head, that's what happened to me. And so just putting it on or whatever. And he actually said, you know what, I need you to go home. Wow. Because you can't sit at the front desk.
Not even realizing that he was sending you back into that environment.
Right.
I didn't even think about that.
Right.
Yes.
He said, you need to go home. So I was like, no, I can stay here, and still do my job. And he was like, the people, the patients are coming in. They can't see you sitting up there like that. You have a black eye. So you can't sit at the front desk like that. He will call the office every hour on the hour to make sure I was at work. When it was time for me to go, I had to call and say I'm leaving. If I took too long to get home, it was a fight. So... abuse to me was learning how to hide, learning how to not put people in your business because I didn't want nobody to judge me. So my thing was, you go out there, you put your face on, don't nobody need to know that you was just kicked or spit on when you came to work this morning.
So do you feel like you were now abusing yourself because you were protecting your abuser?
Yes. Yeah. It tore me down. Mentally, it tore me down. So I was insecurities. I was thinking that nobody would want me because that's what he would tell me. Ain't nobody going to want you because you're fat, you're not cute, you this, you that, you got 2 baby daddies. That was the main thing. You got 2 baby daddies. Don't nobody want nobody with 2 baby daddies. And I'm sitting here thinking like, I ain't good enough for nobody, so I'm going to just stay here with you and deal with it.
Right.
So you asked about how did y'all conceal y'all feelings, like y'all emotions? Because what y'all telling me is like emotionally breaking me down. So like she said earlier, to live through that, how did y'all hide that pain?
You learn how to.
Yeah. It's just like acting.
Yeah.
Just trying to, like for me, like I'm always like, I feel like I'm always like too much. So I'll be trying to like go back. But I would always try to like clown or like, hey, let's drink. I'm like, I'm lit, whatever, however the kids say. But I'm like, I'm drinking and laughing and trying to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
And inside, I'm dying.
And that was one of the things, too, you go through when you're going through domestic violence is you want to make everybody happy.
Right.
You don't want nobody to be mad at you.
Yep.
You know, so you do whatever you can do, no matter if it's your last. I want them to be happy because I don't want to go back into that space where you're upset at me or you're mad at me.
Right.
And so I need to do what I got to do to make for sure, you know, you're happy. And that was one of the things that I had to do in a relationship. I wanted to make sure he's good, so I'm good.
Right.
When we won't be fighting.
So this is so much. We should work hard for a day. I'm sorry, y'all. This is a lot, but y'all both mentioned you have kids. How do you break that curse for them? Because this has to stop.
Well, can I add to that? Before they break it for the kids, I think we need to ask, how did they break it for themselves?
True.
And were both of your children not privileged, but were they able to see the abuse that happened? Or did you do such a good job of keeping that abuse from them as well? Because one of my questions was, is abuse a learned behavior?
Right. I think for me, I did a really good job of hiding it from my kids, but they knew something was wrong. They knew something wasn't right. We getting escorted out by the police in the middle of the night is a clear sign that something is not right. I think the reason why I wanted to get out of it was my kids. And you know, my son, my son's 21 years old now, but he saw so much from me, you know, going through different relationships, and then it was just so much. And I finally got to a point where I was like, he deserves better. He deserves stability. He deserves to be around people who really care about him and love him. I want to love him. I want to show him that I can get out of this situation and be a better version of myself. So it really was the kids who saved me out of that relationship, the last one that I went through. And it was like, I just kept looking at my babies like, I don't want, because I have 2 girls. I'm like, I don't want them to go through this. I don't want them to ever have to hide, you know, and mask their feelings or be with somebody who didn't really genuinely care about them. So for me, it was the kids.
Okay.
For me,
Katrina?
to get out, enough was enough. I know that the last fight we had, I was like, I didn't do nothing. I don't understand why you upset. Why we in here tearing the house up? Because I don't understand, like, I don't understand.
Did you ever feel like,
You know.
when is this going to end?
Yeah.
Like, when is it going to stop?
You
That's how
know,
I
like,
felt, too.
that was my thing. I did not do anything, you know, so why are you tripping? Like, what is it? Why are we in here tearing up the house? What's your deal? That's kind of like where I was. But my kids, they were exposed to all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got a question from the audience. So Cassandra asks, is it natural or normal to still love your abuser even after separation?
I was able to turn my feelings
I'm about to say.
off. It was like
Immediately?
finally getting out. It was like I knew. Now, in one situation, I did go back for a little bit because I was trying to make sure that my daughter had her dad. I was like, oh, you know, I don't want to split up my family. You know,
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep this family together. But then it was right back to the same mess. So it's like, no, okay, I got to cut this off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it wasn't hard for me. But I finally was like, ugh.
That was it. It
Gotta
doesn't
go.
go
You were
away.
able to do that immediately. Like when you got fed up, Miko, you were able to say,
I can't do it. I'm like,
Okay. okay.
no.
It didn't go off for me like that. I still felt like I had to make for sure he was okay, even when us being separated. I still wanted to make for sure he was okay, make for sure he was good. So it took me about a year to actually get over the fact that he was still not physically abusing me, but basically manipulating me, because that was some of the things that, oh, I don't have this, or I don't have that. Can you help me out?
Right.
Can you do this? Can you do that? And me, Sure. Sure. What else you need me to do? You know, yeah, I
Still
can
trying
do
to
it.
make him happy.
Still
and
trying to
please
make him happy. Still trying to please them.
So did you see where that was the emotional abuse that he was now giving you?
I
So
saw
the physical had stopped.
Yeah.
But now he was playing on your
Right.
emotional vulnerability.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that started. But my husband was like, look. Because it would be with our son, you know, can you drop him off? He'll call me, hey, I need you to come pick him up now. I'm getting up and I'm going, you know, to pick him up, you know, and things like that. And my husband was like, hey, you my wife. You ain't got, no, I need you to chill and understand. You not with him no more. Like, you gotta, that's not how it goes.
Right.
So I had, after like a year, I was like, you know what? This ain't it. This ain't right. I'm not with you. I don't have to do everything that you asked me to do at the drop of a dime. I don't have to do that no more.
He's still trying to control you.
And then I saw him come back, you know, to, oh, you stupid bitch. I'm going to tell people this. I'm going to tell people that. You ain't about shit. Like, all types of stuff came out. So I was like, oh, so you ain't changed? You the same person. Oh, okay.
Now you might be a little bit worse because now you've learned to manipulate me in other ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I said this a couple weeks ago on the show, and I've had people ask me, like, well, what did you mean by that? So for me, I knew it was time. But like I said, I looked at him and I was like, nigga, why are you still breathing?
Oh,
Like, that is a horrible thought to have about somebody when you just know that
Right.
I could just put something right here.
yes.
And this will just silence all of that.
It'll be over, and I'll be
Straight
much
down the middle.
happier when
Yeah,
you
because
go
you
away.
won't be here. You can't bother
Right.
me, you know?
And I'm not, at that point, like, I wasn't worried about the consequence. I was just worried about if I put something right here, I can rest right here.
Yes.
But that really wasn't the case.
Right.
And one of my old supervisors, and me and him are still like this to this day, people actually used to accuse us of having a thing, but we didn't. He knew what abuse looked like when he saw it, right? So I came to work one day and he was like, hey, man, what's up with you? And I was like, I'm good. He was like, you a fucking lie. Just straight like that. And I was like, well, no, what you mean? And he was like, nah, you got something going on. But I had called in. Because I was like, you know, I just had the emergency, but I never told him what the emergency was. I had went to court and got a restraining order. And I, you know, PG County some shit for this.
Girl.
The judge looked me in my face and said, I don't feel like he's an imminent threat to you.
Yeah.
Oh, my
They still do that.
God.
So-
What do you mean?
Yep.
Bitch, you ain't banging the gavel. I'm not. You are not being paid to bang the gavel to tell me what you think about my situation.
Yep.
Awful.
And it made the situation worse because, granted, the stay-away order was granted for, I think, 7 days. But in
Right.
7 days, I had to come back.
Yep.
So to make things easier between he and I accepted the stay-away order. But I went out with him afterwards. Because if I could keep tabs on him.
During that
Right.
7 days?
Yeah. Because if I could keep tabs on him, I could kind of figure out what you're doing, or at least I felt like I knew what you were feeling. And my supervisor picked up on all of that. And he was like, you gotta let that nigga go.
Was he your age?
No, he wasn't. He was older. It was a control thing. It was a mind thing. He
No, I
you know-
meant your
No. He was
supervisor.
older.
He was older.
He was
okay.
older. He had been through life's block a couple times.
Okay.
But for the person that I was dealing with, we did this unhealthy exchange for 5 years.
Wow.
And I spent more time being mad at him than I was at myself because I allowed that behavior.
Yeah.
Like, I enabled him. I made him feel like, you know, I was inferior to him. Like, I needed him.
What made you
Now when I
leave?
see that nigga, no, I'm for real. I was going to pull a bullet right here.
Wow.
And that was going to be the end of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, I just had it all mapped out. They're like, I could just put something right
Ain't this crazy though? How
here.
you
I was just sitting there. He never knew.
how you
he
map
never
it out?
knew.
How you gonna get out?
Yeah.
Like what you gotta do to get out to make
Creating that
sure
escape
you
plan.
know.
I always had a bag packed of like, see the turn in the middle,
Yeah,
like,
you-
get the kids.
you always
start
have
leaving.
a escape plan.
Now, speaking of Ike, we laugh at these Ike memes.
We do.
And
And
people
when
find
I
it funny.
said that, I just got in my feelings like, oh my God, I thought that shit was funny, but it's
But it's
not
not.
funny
I
no
can't
more.
laugh
It's
at
not,
it.
you know, honestly, it was never funny. It was never
Right.
funny to laugh at that. Like,
But what does that say about our community?
we become conditioned to that.
Right.
We think it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, them Ike memes was the
Go ahead and
thing
say
for
it.
a minute.
Funny as shit.
As fuck, I'm sorry. And I've
Yeah.
even been, I'm guilty of even saying some shit like that. But I mean, I'm embarrassed not for myself, but as a group,
Right.
we failed women, and there are some men out there that's dealing with that. Like we're
Yes.
failing each
Yes.
other
Right.
by laughing at that or making that
Right.
a joke.
Because it's
And
not.
and I never thought about it that way. That's dope that y'all have opened people's eyes to that. Like that. Yeah, wow.
A lot of people, they
Let me make
they
sure this
don't
shit
even
not on
know.
my
They don't.
page.
They just think that they really do think it's a joke. Someone
Yeah.
DM me an interview that Ike and Tina had. No, it was just Ike Turner, and he was trying to justify why he hit Tina Turner, and I was like, first of all, why did you send me this? And second of all, I'm looking at this like, and I replied back, I was like, this is not funny. This is sad. Like he's sick. He's a really
Yeah.
sick person. And they was like, oh my bad, I ain't look at it like that. I'm like, nah, I don't want no parts of that.
Now,
That's
let
a whole
me
block.
let me play devil's advocate for a minute.
Okay.
Men can be abused too.
They
Yeah.
can.
Why
can.
do we as a community not take their abuse
Right.
as serious?
Right.
I think we look at men and say, if you go down there get them stay away orders and stuff, you a bitch. I think that's how society looks at men, and to me, especially our black men, because they're supposed to be so strong, and they're supposed to be able to take whatever come at them. So for them, if we think it's embarrassing for us to go down there and do it, imagine what it is for them to go down there and actually have to say, well, I was with my wife or my girlfriend, and this is what she did to me. I think that they just don't say anything. They feel like they
Right.
just have to deal with it. I think their internalization of things may be more than what we internalize, because they actually have to say, I'm a man and I have to deal with it. That's what I think they have to go through.
Did y'all have people question y'all when y'all came out?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had a
Was it victim
sister
shaming and
now.
blaming?
Yeah, I have a cease and desist order against me about my book, about somebody who thinks they're a character in my book and they don't want me talking about them. So when I got that, I got really discouraged. Like I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, well, if you go on Maryland Case Search,
It's there.
it's there. So it's not like, and it was just like, well, what can I do? And it was like, I thought my book was going to be shut down because it was like, I don't want you talking about me. I don't want you telling anybody anything about it. And it was just control.
That's
Still
some
trying to
coward
control.
ass shit.
Yeah.
You cool with beating on me or
Right.
being mentally abusive to me behind closed doors, but then when I tell somebody about it, it's, oh no, that's not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. You made that up. You lied. I was like, okay, cool.
Was you in the same room with what?
Nah, they wasn't there.
Delusional. Okay.
You asked them, they wasn't there. It was all in our head.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Somebody else did that.
You slipped and fell on a rock, girl.
Oh,
You
I had
lied.
oh my goodness, he had punched me. I had fractured my nose, and I'm laughing because I went to work and told them I slipped in the tub and hit my
Oh, my God.
hit my face on the side of the tub, and this all of my face was swollen. And I'm at work like, yeah, girl, when you in the shower.
That story sounded good to you. huh?
Good.
And
when
it
you
was some shit too.
Yeah,
Who
right.
was lying?
Everybody was like, this girl lying.
They
She is lying. This bitch is lying. Nobody ever called you out on it?
They ain't say nothing. They just was,
I
you
would-
can
look,
tell they
if you
was
work with me, I'd have
looking.
been like, girl.
Yeah, I think I would have too. Been like, what?
Yes. One time I went, I had the shoe print on my shirt.
Oh, my God.
And my coworker said, Katrina, why do you have that shoe print on your shirt? And I was like, oh, girl, I think that's from, I was on the floor and I just picked it up and put it on, You come up,
Them excuses,
you come up with some
babe.
stories
Come up with
to
some
tell
good
people.
stories.
So with that, like with your coworkers almost aiding you in this because they're not calling you out.
Right.
What roles do you think family and friends play in when someone's in that type of situation?
For me, I didn't tell my family.
But it was obvious. Your whole face was swollen.
Yeah.
But see, my
Isolate
family,
yourself.
my family was in Mississippi. I was here by myself.
Okay.
So I didn't tell
And
my
he knew
family.
that, too, so that's probably
That was
why
yeah.
he did what he
He did what he
did.
did. So to me, it was more so my friends. I lost a lot of friends because I had one person to ask me, how stupid can you be to keep letting them do that to you?
Not come with me.
How
But
stupid can you
you're
be
stupid.
to continue and let him do that to you? I did have some good girlfriends, but because I was scared that I was putting them in a situation to get hurt, I cut them off. Some that knew, the one that did know, she actually helped me when I left him. And we stayed at her house for a couple of days, and we got to the airport, and I went back home. But when you don't have anybody, and for me, I didn't have anybody, he was my only family. He was my only outlet. I will say some of his family did see it. Some of his friends witnessed it and thought it was funny.
Girl, you are not. I don't want
don't
to
say
say that.
that.
I don't want to say that. I just can't believe
I
that.
have been in front of them. He's hit me.
And was it your fault that he hit you?
That's what they say. But
And I'm just assuming these are men.
yeah, of course.
And they always ask you, like, what did you do?
That's the thing, like, and
That's what used to piss
I would be
me
like,
off.
then you think you have like one of his friends that you maybe can confide in and talk to. Kind of find out I was a laughing stock because he would come home angry as hell. You telling them what's going on, and I'm like, well, damn. I thought he would talk to you,
Right.
to at least try to let you know, like, hey, that's not, you should be doing that,
Right.
But that's not. Yeah, I didn't have anybody. My friends, if I didn't talk to you while I was at work, I definitely wasn't talking to you while I was at home. Even if he wasn't there, I ain't talked to nobody. So me and my kids, that was it. Don't talk to nobody. Don't speak to nobody. As soon as I did start back talking to my friends and stuff, he said I was fucking them. They all girls. Please tell me where that's coming in.
Really insecure.
Like how? When?
Now, when you all separated for good and it was time to now the children visit their father, was that ever a fear or concern? Because, we've seen in the media where individuals in abusive relationships, they leave, they share a child. The abuser, unfortunately, uses the child as a pawn and has even sometimes killed the child. I think there was a parent like that up in New York. There was a family. The guy set the baby on fire, killed
Is that
her,
the one that locked her in the car? Okay.
and set it on fire. Like, was there ever a time where you were concerned for your children or your child's safety? I don't know how many children you have with this gentleman, but were you ever
wasn't concerned about the safety of them. I guess it's one thing I can say, he is a great father in that aspect of taking care of his kids. The only thing I was afraid of was him taking my child from me. The law doesn't help you in that aspect of it.
No.
If you share a child with him and he says he don't want to get that baby back, he ain't got to get that baby back. That was my issues with him. He would go pick him up from school, not answer my phone calls, not do anything. The school system, his name is on the birth certificate, so he can go and pick him up. It wasn't until recently a lady told me, she said, no, that's not how that works. My son, he is in D.C. She said, you registered him, you pick him up, you drop him off. If you don't physically say to us or put in writing that he can pick him up, that's not how that works. She said that's not how that goes. So for me, it was just him going and get him and taking him from me, and me not being able to talk to my child or see my child. That was my thing.
What was the longest that he's ever done that, if you don't mind sharing?
About a week.
Wow.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
About a week. Not answering my phone calls, not answering my text messages. And because of my job, I couldn't just take off, and go and pick him up from the school. Where would I take him?
Right.
So it was pretty much me begging, like, hey, just let me talk to him.
That's a hard sacrifice to make.
Just let me see if he's okay. Just let me talk to him, That messed me up, so I did what I got to do. Can't take him no more.
Did that force you to go get a custody order?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's one time where the system has worked in your favor?
It has.
Okay.
But going through it, the system is not, to me, is not set up to help you in domestic violence situations.
Right.
Don't I know it?
Really?
Yeah.
Its system is not, you
I
know.
mean, I always hear that the system favors women, so that's why I
It
would
can-
just
yeah, it
assume
can
that.
fa-
And
favor
child
you.
support and shit like
Right.
that.
Yeah,
But
but
Not
if
with
you going
domestic
through
violence.
it, imagine you going through it and he right here and you right here.
it's your word against his word.
And when you leave out, y'all leaving out together. Ain't
Same
nobody
time.
escorting you out.
No.
Nothing.
Anything
so
can happen to you
Right.
when you leave out of there.
So the system doesn't help you because you're like, okay. And then also you end up going back to him. Unfortunately, you end up going back.
You think the system has something to do with that because they didn't help you?
Absolutely.
That you
Right.
kind of felt like you
Yeah.
had to go back.
You got to, because I was telling her, to me, it was like, okay, now I have the control.
Right.
You know, I got this stay away order, so I know he ain't gonna hit me now.
it might make matters worse. And unfortunately, we had a young lady we went to school with who she had the same case. She had a stay away order. The gentleman was there to get his stuff, and unfortunately, he wound up murdering her and himself. So it was a murder suicide with a stay away order.
Yeah.
So that
It's
too
scary.
keeps people from wanting to report the crime
Yeah.
because they don't feel safe.
Exactly.
Yeah. You gotta have your getaway plan.
So what made
Keep
y'all
a bag
feel
packed.
safe enough to come out now? I mean, because like you said, you were in the music industry. Your family's not even here
Yeah.
to kind of have your back. Like, what made y'all feel safe now
I
to
think
come out?
now it's different because I haven't been in that situation in 8 years or more now, and then plus like I finally talked to my family about it and they know. And one of my brothers is a police officer, and when one of the incidents happened, he was the responding officer.
Wow.
So to see the look on his face, like he's looking at me like, why wouldn't you tell me? And I'm like,
Yeah.
because I didn't want you to kick his ass. He's like, I need to fuck him up. You should have stopped it. I'm like, I'm sorry. So now I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, what you gonna do? My brother got my back. You know, I'm like, so it's different now because I don't feel like that anymore. So it's like, I don't care. I look at him in his face like, what's up? You know, I have a different confidence now because I've told my family, everybody knows, and everybody's ready. I'm ready too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Katrina?
I think, to be honest, because my husband, I have somebody that I know is going to protect me.
That's good.
I don't have to worry about him doing anything physical, you know what I'm saying, to me. I do be like, no, don't respond. That's what I tell my husband, like, don't worry about it, you know. Don't
let
worry
him
about
respond.
it. He
Let
said-
him respond.
My
honey.
husband be like, it ain't gonna be too many more. Just letting it go. But for
Uh-huh.
me, it's just like I know I have a protector. I know I have somebody that's gonna be like, you know what, you're not about to be sitting here and being disrespectful to her like that.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good feeling to know somebody got your back like
Yes.
that.
So both of y'all are married. How was it not only moving on to a new relationship, but explaining your past to them? Like how did they accept that? What, like, I know you mentioned you have to go through therapy or you went through therapy, but like to me, I would almost have to go through therapy too to just to know how to handle you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So how do y'all new relationships, how did they adapt?
I didn't tell my husband everything that he did.
Will you ever?
Now, with me like being able to actually write down what's going on,
Right.
he is able to see and relate. You know, not relate, but see the stories.
Right.
I didn't tell him everything because that was part of the embarrassment. I didn't want him to feel like I was weak, you know, or I just go for anything. And then I didn't want him to leave me, you know. I didn't want him to be like, well, you got too many issues. Your kids got issues.
Right.
Everybody got issues.
Everybody got issues.
Damn
And
dog got
you
issues.
know,
He done seen it too.
So that's why I didn't tell him everything because of that fear. I was like, he gonna leave me if you find out I let this nigga do all this to me, you know. And then my kids got anxiety, so certain things you got to watch out for and do around them. So I told him every bits and things. Like when stuff would come in my head, then I laugh. He'd be like, "Hey, you know that nigga did this," and he'd be like, "What?" I say, "Okay, no, I'm not gonna tell you about that."
He was ready to go knock on the door.
Wave,
kick down the door, waving the 4-4. He was ready.
I didn't tell him everything, but he do know some of the things that happened, and he can tell that something traumatic happened with me because of how I respond to him, and things. So he said, when you're ready to talk, we can talk about everything.
Okay, that's fair. Miko?
It actually was the exact opposite for me. My husband and I, we were friends in the music industry years ago, and so the only way he got in the door was being my friend from back in the day. And I think we had a phone relationship for like months before we even went out on a first date. And I was like, I told him everything. Like, this is what happened. I don't ever want to go through this again. And plus, I wanted to protect my kids. Like, I'm like, if I'm bringing you into this relationship, like, you need to know what my kids went through. You need to, be a protector for them and me. But, it was a lot of issues. Like you said, everybody had issues. Everybody had anxiety. My kids looking at him like, who is this Bama? Like, why are you in our house? What do you want? What do you want with my mom? And, my son, he's a soldier, so he's ready. He's like, Mom, I'm like, I'm good. He's like, you for real? I'm like, no. So it was a lot of sharing, because I just wanted him to know everything that was going on. And like you said, he became a protector. Like, every time I had to go drop my daughter off, he drove me. Yeah, he was there. He was right. He was right there.
Yeah, and he would not even look at you sideways.
Oh my goodness! I be sitting there like, I'm not scared of him though. I'm scared about her.
What your husband gonna do, right?
Doing something crazy. So yeah, it was a lot.
Well,
yeah.
That was a lot. Thank you, ladies. For
Drink a little something, honey.
I ain't got much left.
If you could say one thing before we go to the Don, to any woman or man, to anyone suffering from domestic violence, one word, what would it be?
One word?
Yeah, one word. What would it be?
One word is hard. Can we do it?
Tell somebody. I know it's 2 words, but talk.
But we from the B&B, so we run our words together.
Tell somebody.
Tell somebody.
Tell somebody.
That's how you do that right there.
Yes.
For me, it's get out.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got one?
Time. Give yourself time.
Give yourself time.
Give yourself time to get past that.
And like you said, grace.
Yeah, grace never grief.
Right.
And then once you get past that, it's fucked them peoples.
That's right.
Hey.
All right, hood therapist.
There you go. So before we wrap, though, we do have an Ask the Don.
Y'all ready to get messy?
Real messy, real quick. So I sounded like Barry White just now.
Can I say one real quick thing?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
please.
I want to let you guys know that I'm doing this brunch, and it is for survivors of domestic violence and other people too. But I just want to celebrate, because it's a lot to go through all of what we went through, but just to celebrate the fact that we got out. So I'm having this brunch on Sunday, October 20th, and I would love for you guys to come through.
Okay.
All the details on my page, Instagram, Facebook, Miko the Boss. But I did want to just say that real quick, because I just wanted my sister here and you. And I know you haven't been through it, but you can come out and celebrate with the honorees that we have that are coming. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that.
Well, thank you for
I
that.
think as a woman, I'm proud of y'all for
Thank
putting
you.
your foot down and knowing your worth and your value, and knowing that you're better than that situation and that there's more life after that. Can you tell Boo?
Actually, that's
10 minutes.
Actually, that's the engineer's phone.
Oh,
So you tell the engineer to tell his boo. 10 minutes, we gonna wrap. So real quick, Ask the Don, we gonna get messy, we gonna get out.
All right.
I had a young lady ask me, so she did something questionable while she was under the influence that she wouldn't normally do while she was sober. She fucked her friend's man. Should she tell him yes or no?
No.
Unfriend
Take
her.
it to the grave,
that's
honey.
how I feel. Go
Now
ahead.
wait, who unfriended, the fucky or the fucker?
Unfriend a
The
friend.
fucky is the man.
Girl, we can't. I'm sorry. we can't be friends.
So she need to take that to the grave?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you saying take it to the grave and not be her friend no more?
if she gonna keep fucking them.
No,
I don't think
not.
she doesn't want to keep
It
fucking.
was
She
a
just
drunk
said that
accident.
it was
Blame it
a
on the
drunken
alcohol.
night. She fell on the dick, I guess.
She was.
You know how
and
you
fell
slip?
down on it?
Yeah, you
She
know.
better take
No,
that
I don't know how
fall.
you slip and
She'll
fall on
remember-
I
that.
don't either, but I'm just saying.
I don't know what happened.
Okay. And so, Miko, you said no tell?
Oh, don't tell. Take it to the grave. You know.
What you got?
You better hope you get to the grave before I get to it. Especially if you're my friend. Like, come
Yeah.
because
yeah.
I feel like in a drunken state, people feel like they can just say and do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
If you wouldn't do it in your sober mind, don't do it in your drunken mind.
I agree.
It's different levels of friends. So she got what type of friend
Nah,
That's not your friend.
is,
Nah.
you know.
Well,
It's nobody I want to. I can't even look at my friend man like
bet-
that, even if he is like it.
She
It's
probably
just
don't
like,
even like
nah.
her anyway. She, you know,
She can't.
probably was wanted to do it anyway. She
Probably.
ain't like it. That ain't her
She
friend.
always
so it's
wanted
safe
him.
to say that that drunk
That liquor-
mind did a sober act.
Sober act.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a
Definitely.
good one.
And sis, you watching because you an avid watcher.
Hey, girl.
So I hope you hear this.
Take it to the grave. Take it
Take
to the
it
grave.
to the
I say take it to the
grave.
grave.
So before we wrap, tell the viewers where to catch you.
What's
All your
coming up?
social
I
media
want you to speak
platforms.
about the Miko the Boss Academy that you have going on too. But go ahead.
Oh, it's just on Instagram.
You might have to spell it because virtuous. Carmen made somebody spell the 2 weeks ago.
I mean, we don't know all of our audience. And we don't know their level of
challenge.
education. So we don't know.
So it's at VIRTEOUS_Carter. I am actually trying to get out to be a do motivational speaking to anybody who's going through domestic violence or is in shelters and things like that. So my goal is to start going out and speaking to women, letting them know that you can get out, letting them know that, you know, that's not the end of it. I do know that I was told that it would take you 7 times to leave when I would go down to the domestic violence center downtown D.C. And then I started counting to see how many times. And the last time was the 7th time.
Wow.
So, yeah, to me, 7 is completion. So when you leave that 7th time, you're fine. You're good. You just got to find yourself, find something to keep you motivated. If you have kids, that should be your motivation enough right there to get yourself together and do what you have to do to make for sure you're okay. Therapy is not bad. For some reason,
Tell them again.
we look down on therapy. Therapy is not bad. Being able to speak to somebody who does not know you personally and being able to be open and say, this is what happened to me is a good thing. So no matter what nobody say, if you need to go see a therapist, go see a therapist so you can get yourself together because that helps you clear your head.
Yes.
All right, Miko.
So I am Miko the Boss on all social media. I have the Teen Boss Academy. It is
Spell Miko.
MEKOTHEBOSS, the boss.
Okay.
And so I also run a program called the Teen Boss Academy. We crowned a winner this year, 13-year-old Salorum Jackson, who won for this unique card game. And I gave her $500 to start her business. And she already established her LLC. She is like working hard. I think I'm going to be working for her one day because she is going to be a millionaire. And I keep telling her that. So the Teen Boss Academy is a program that I have to help girls the age 13 to 18 start their business. And they are crowned $500 at the end of the program. And my book, Love Is Not Pain, is in stores. It's on Amazon, iBooks, Barnes & Nobles, everywhere books are sold. On my website, loveisnotpain.com. That's available now. And the brunch that I invited you guys to on Sunday is also happening. So
And
thank
y'all,
you.
Buy the book. Don't be cheap. If your girlfriend
Thank you,
got the
thank
book,
you, thank
don't be
you.
like, oh, let me
Don't
read
be
it when you
swapping
done.
the book.
If she give me this book, y'all not borrowing my copy. I'm just letting y'all
You
know.
know, buy the book.
Thank you,
Buy
thank
back
you,
the block.
thank you. Yes. It's some craziness in there, but God brought it all back together.
No, we going to call that a little bit of truth serum.
Oh, yes.
Little truth serum.
Oh,
in there.
yes.
All right, I think that's it. We out?
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey.
Look at that. We did good, Brian. 8:30 and 3 seconds. Oh, shit.